Axel's POV. I swear my dorm room could have qualified for a crime scene. Empty coffee cups, pizza boxes, and a stack of overdue library books that could break someone's foot. I'd been meaning to clean for weeks, but tonight I had no choice. The inspection was in the morning, and I needed that damn deposit back. God, I just want my deposit back, I muttered, kicking an old hoodie under the bed. My bank account was already weeping. Then I noticed the old trunk sitting in the corner, the one my grandma left me before she passed. Heavy, wooden, and full of what she called family treasures, which really meant dusty regrets and antique nightmares. If only she had left me a home as an inheritance. Sighs. I popped the trunk open, coughing as a cloud of age hit my face. Inside were lace gloves, yellowed letters, and a pocket watch wrapped in cloth. It gleamed faintly, almost too clean compared to everything else. Tied around it was a tiny paper tag that read, "Do not open under moonlight." I squinted toward my window. The moon, full and bright, spilled right onto my bed. "Yeah, sure, Grandma. Super specific instructions," I said, sarcasm dripping as usual. Too bad I'm already broke and emotionally numb. What's a little curse gonna do? I flipped it open. The light that burst out wasn't normal light. It was like the air tore in half. My iced coffee toppled, papers flew, and I stumbled back, shielding my face. My ears rang, and the glow twisted into a shape. A man stumbled out, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing what looked like a freaking waistcoat straight out of a museum exhibit. He gasped like he'd just surfaced from underwater, eyes wide, chest heaving. I froze. He froze. My brain short-circuited. What the hell? Where am I? His voice was hoarse but rich, his accent sharp. He spun around, scanning the room like a cornered animal. I blinked. Okay, either I inhaled too much dust, or eBay's new delivery service is wild. He looked at me like I'd spoken witchcraft. What sorcery? What realm is this? The power went off at the right time. Oh great, I muttered, backing up. God is really trying to spook me. I grabbed my phone to use the flashlight, and the beam hit his face. He screamed, actually screamed, and stumbled backward, grabbing a pillow like it was a shield. "Begone, glowing demon orb!" he yelled. "It's a phone, dude!" I shouted back. "Phone? It's not evil! It's... forget it!" We both just stared at each other then, panting, both equally confused, my brain hazed. His chest was rising fast, sweat beading at his temple. His eyes flicked everywhere, ceiling, walls, me, as if trying to find a reason that made sense. Finally, he clenched his jaw and said, voice trembling, "I am Anthony, not Ghost. I mean you no harm." I blinked, stunned. "Wow, Axel, you hear that? The ghost has a name." He frowned. "Axel." The dude's gaze softened, still guarded but less wild now. He looked down at the watch on the floor between us, its cover faintly glowing, then back at me. "You opened it," he said quietly. I nodded slowly, my head dizzy. Guess I did. We stood there in silence for a moment. Just two strangers, one modern, one definitely not. The absurdity of it all started to sink in, and my heart wouldn't stop racing. He looked so real. The faint shake in his hands, the tremor in his breath. None of it felt ghostly. He took a hesitant step closer, eyes searching mine. "You summoned me," he whispered, almost like it scared him too. Something in my chest twisted, part fear, part disbelief, part something else I couldn't name. I sat back, heart hammering. "Grandma, what the hell did you do?" The room spun a little, adrenaline catching up to me. My vision blurred, and before I could even process what just happened, the world went black early morning. Waking up to a half-naked 19th century man poking your lamp like it's Satan's toy isn't how I planned my Tuesday. Something buzzed in my ear. My first thought was hangover. My second was, oh, right. I passed out mid-ghost exorcism. I cracked an eye open. Light poured through the blinds, stabbing straight into my skull. My room looked like a tornado had gone through it. And in the middle of it, standing barefoot, shirt half open, staring at my table lamp like it held the secrets of the universe, was him. He tapped the lampshade. It flickered. He jumped back. "Good morning, Lucifer's relic," I muttered, voice rough. He turned sharply. His dark hair was a mess now, his sleeves rolled, eyes wide and alert. "You live?" Yeah. You're still here." "Where else would I vanish, sir?" "Sir?" I sat up, rubbing my temples. "Okay, stop that. I'm Axel." He straightened his back. "Anthony Hawthorne, scholar and inventor under His Majesty's crown." I blinked. "Right. Of course you are." He frowned. "Do you mock me?" "No. Just processing the fact that I accidentally kidnapped a British scientist from a Jane Austen movie." His brow furrowed. "Jane who?" "Never mind." I reached for my phone on the nightstand, half to prove he was real. The moment the screen lit up, he yelped, "The glowing portrait returns!" "It's not a portrait, it's a phone," I said. "It's how we talk to people." "Across oceans? Across continents?" He gawked. "That's witchcraft." "Wi-Fi, actually." He looked genuinely betrayed. "You just about it too?" I groaned. "Okay, no. You need caffeine." He tilted his head. "Caffeine?" I pushed off the bed and grabbed a spare mug, handing it to him. "Coffee. It keeps you from screaming at technology." He sniffed it cautiously. "It smells burnt." "That's how you know it's good." He took a sip and coughed hard. "You people drink tar," I snorted. "And yet, we survive." He set the cup down and looked around my room with wonder, fingers grazing the curtains, eyes tracing the fan above. When the fan started spinning, he jumped. "The ceiling moves." "It's a fan," I said, trying not to laugh. "It moves air." He looked at me like I'd just turned water into wine. Astounding. There was something almost childlike in how he examined everything. The mirror, the window, the desk clutter. When he found my hoodie on the chair, he held it up like it was a ceremonial robe. "This garment, what is its purpose?" "It's a hoodie." I stood and helped him slip it on. "Keeps you warm. Try it." He looked down, tugging the sleeves over his wrists, the hem reaching his thighs. "It is soft," he said quietly, almost to himself. For a moment, the sarcasm in me shut up. He looked human, lost, out of place. And somehow that made my chest tighten. I cleared my throat. "So, Anthony Hawthorne, scholar and inventor, huh?" He nodded. "Indeed, I was working on an electrical conduction device before." He trailed off, staring at the pocket watch still on my desk. "Before light swallowed me whole." "What year were you in the moment you teleported here?" I asked. "November 12th, 1824. Something in his tone made me stop. I unlocked my phone, typed Anthony Hawthorne Inventor 1824 into Google. And there he was, a grainy scan of an old newspaper headline. "Promising British inventor vanishes without a trace." My stomach dropped. "Holy sh... What?" he asked, stepping closer. "Nothing." I shut the screen fast. "You, made the news." "The news?" "Never mind that too." He studied me like he could read what I wasn't saying. His expression softened. "You look pale, Axel. Have I frightened you?" I laughed weakly. "You?" "No. Time travel? Maybe." He smiled faintly, a slow, uncertain thing. "You speak strangely, but kindly." That shouldn't have made my heart do what it just did. We fell into a strange quiet. The room hummed with sunlight and the sound of the fan. Anthony's gaze shifted to the window. "What year is it?" 2025, I said carefully. His lips parted. His eyes flicked to the floor, then back up. 2 centuries, he whispered. "Everyone I know is gone." The air went heavy. I wanted to say something, anything to ease that look on his face. "Well," I said after a beat, "you've got me. And Netflix." He blinked. Is that a person? Kind of, I smiled. You'll love him? He didn't laugh, but the corner of his mouth twitched. He turned to the window again, eyes reflecting the sky. For a few minutes, we just stood there. I don't know why I didn't tell him it'd be fine, or promise to fix anything. I just stood beside him, close enough to feel the warmth of him through that stupid hoodie. He looked back at me suddenly, eyes searching. Thank you for not casting me out. I shrugged, trying not to show how that landed. Well, I was the one who passed out first, so I guess I don't get to judge. He smiled again, smaller this time. Then I am relieved you survived my arrival. Yeah, I said, half grinning. Could have been worse. You could have been like a ghost or a tax collector. He tilted his head, expression soft. May I remain here for a while? Yeah, I said quietly. You can stay. And that's how I ended up with a lost inventor from 1824, standing barefoot in my dorm, wearing my hoodie, and staring at my router like it was divine judgment. Somehow, I wasn't even mad about it. 3 days in, I was starting to realize that Anthony Hawthorne, time traveler extraordinaire, had zero understanding of personal space. He followed me everywhere. The kitchen, he was there. The bathroom door, he waited outside like a guard. The couch? Somehow, we always ended up sharing the same blanket, even when there were two. At first it was funny, then it got weirdly warm. That morning, I was trying to pour cereal without him hovering. He stood beside me, squinting at my t-shirt like it was a sacred relic. Your garments cling in most scandalous fashion, he said matter-of-factly. I nearly choked on my spoon. It's called cotton, not sin. He blinked. Cotton? Remarkable. It obeys no buttons, no laces. His fingers brushed the fabric near my shoulder before he seemed to remember himself and stepped back quickly. Forgive me. I study what I do not understand. Yeah, just study from a safe distance next time. He nodded solemnly. Understood. He didn't understand. By mid-morning, I was rethinking my life choices. Jamie, my roommate, had started asking questions. The creaking floorboards, the deep voices coming from my room, the missing food. Dude, Jamie said that afternoon, arms crossed. You hiding someone in there? I heard a British accent. Yeah, I blurted the first thing that came to mind. Distant cousin, from London. Exchange program. Jamie frowned. Then why does he keep calling you sir? He's old-fashioned? Jamie gave me that "you're insane" look and walked off. I shut my door fast, heart pounding. Anthony was crouched by the toaster, glaring at it like it had insulted his family. It refuses cooperation, he muttered. I sighed, walking over. It's not an enemy. It's just a toaster. I pressed the lever down. The coils glowed. He jumped slightly. It burns on command? It toasts, I said, trying not to smile. That's called breakfast, not war. He stared at me, half amused, half bewildered. In my time, breakfast was never this violent. Welcome to the future, buddy! When the toast popped up, he laughed, really laughed, for the first time. It was soft and genuine, and it hit me harder than I expected. I reached over to grab the slices, and our fingers brushed. Just for a second. But he didn't pull away immediately. His hand was warm, steady, like it belonged there. I cleared my throat and stepped back fast. Okay, congrats. You've mastered toast. Next, we tackle deodorant. He tilted his head, smiling faintly. Another invention of great danger? You have no idea. That night, the air felt different, quieter. He sat near the window, staring out at the glowing city lights. The hoodie I'd given him hung loose around his shoulders, and his hair caught the light like ink. I was scrolling through my phone when he spoke suddenly, voice low. In your world, May men love men freely now? I froze. Yeah, I said carefully. It's allowed now. He turned to look at me, eyes searching. Then perhaps I was born too early. The words hit like a whisper through my chest. I wanted to joke, to deflect, to say something dumb like you're catching up just fine, but my throat wouldn't move. He looked down at his hands, the picket watch in his palm flaring faintly, a small smile flickering there, sad and hopeful all at once. I didn't know what to say after that. We sat there in silence for a long time. He lost in thought, me trying not to think about how close we were sitting, or how easy it had become to just exist beside him. Later, when I went to bed, I couldn't sleep. My brain kept looping that line over and over. Then perhaps I was born too early. There was something in the way he said it, like he'd meant more than history or time, like he'd meant us. And that thought kept me awake till dawn. A week later, Anthony had been obsessing over that damn pocket watch all week. I'd catch him sitting by the window, turning it over like he could squeeze answers out of brass. He said it hummed once when lightning struck, the same night he landed here. Now he was convinced it was the key back to his century. I'd tried to help, even lent him my laptop. Huge mistake. This machine, he'd muttered, squinting at the screen. It mocks me with knowledge. It's called Google, man. Just type what you want. I am typing. It refuses to yield. He poked the keyboard like it owed him money. I laughed, maybe too fondly. You're hitting caps lock again. He looked up, frustrated, hair falling into his eyes. I would rather rebuild the Crown's printing press than operate this contraption. Yeah, I noticed, I said, leaning over him. My arm brushed his shoulder. The faint smell of coffee and old books clung to him. He didn't flinch, but I did. Being stuck with him in my tiny dorm wasn't helping either. Between Anthony's endless questions and my nosy roommate Jamie, the walls felt like they were closing in. Jamie had started noticing more things. The extra toothbrush. The old boots are by the door. Your cousin really likes your hoodie collection, Jamie had said, with air quotes when I was doing the laundry. Yeah, he's, sentimental, I'd replied, hoping that was convincing enough. Truth was, Anthony wasn't just sentimental. He'd become my routine, learning, asking, existing in my space like he belonged there. And I didn't hate it. I just didn't know what that meant. By the weekend, I decided I needed a distraction, something normal. I'd matched with a guy on a dating app, Ben. Nice smile into art. We grabbed dinner at this hipster ramen place. Our conversation was mostly about me blabbering about past, time travel, and sci-fic. He left halfway through the meal. No text, no explanation. By the time I got back to my dorm, my mood was somewhere between annoyance and quiet humiliation. The lights were on. Anthony sat on the couch, still in my hoodie, hair messy, eyes flicking towards the door the second I walked in. You're still awake? I asked, tossing my keys down. I could not rest, he said simply. You were gone long. I kicked off my shoes. Had dinner. Didn't go great. He frowned. Did he treat you kindly? I almost laughed. He ghosted me. Anthony's brow furrowed. Ghosted you? He perished. Despite myself, I cracked a grin. No, just disappeared. Like an ass. His expression softened. Then he's a fool to abandon someone like you. That shut me up. My heart stuttered like a skipped song. Yeah, well, I said after a second, pretending to fumble with the fridge. Modern men suck. Anthony stood, stepping closer, voice quieter now. Then he lacks sense. You're good company. That made my chest go tight for reasons I didn't want to name. You don't have to say that. I'm not saying it out of pity, he said softly. You have a way of making even this strange world feel less frightening. The room went quiet, too quiet. The only sound was the faint hum of my fridge and my own pulse thudding somewhere in my ears. Anthony, I said, trying to find something casual to say, but it came out rough. He stepped a little closer, eyes searching mine. I don't mean to overstep, but when you smile, it makes me think perhaps I was meant to see this century. I looked away before my face gave me away. You talk like you're writing a letter. He chuckled faintly. Perhaps I am, and you are the intended reader. Something in me caved a little then. He wasn't flirting exactly. He didn't even know how to. But his honesty was disarming. No games, no pretense, just truth dropped between us like a spark. Get some sleep, I muttered, pretending to yawn. You'll need it if you're planning to fight my toaster again tomorrow. He smiled, slow and genuine. Only if you stand beside me in battle. Deal, I said, though my voice came out softer than I wanted. Later that night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I kept hearing his voice, that old-world gentleness wrapping around my name when he said it. This wasn't supposed to happen. He was from another century, a stranger, a puzzle I was supposed to fix, not fall for. But I couldn't ignore the ache in my chest every time I saw him smile. He was trying to find his way back to 1824, and all I could think was, what if he actually did? Somewhere in the dark, I heard him shift on the couch. A faint whisper. Good night, Axel. I turned my head toward him. Good night, Anthony. My chest tightened, because for the first time, I wasn't sure if I wanted him to ever leave. Weeks later, if you told me 2 weeks ago I'd be teaching a guy from 1824 how to use emojis, I'd have laughed in your face. Now I just tried not to lose my mind every time his shoulder brushed mine. Anthony sat beside me on the couch, his brows drawn as he stared at my phone like it held the meaning of life. So, I said, pointing at the screen, this face with the tears? It's not actual crying. It means something's really funny. Anthony squinted. You express amusement by pretending to weep? Yeah, the internet's weird. He nodded thoughtfully, then typed something, hit send, and turned the phone to me. It was a text to me. Your company brings me great joy. I snorted. You can't just use it in serious sentences, man. Why not? You said it denotes joy. Yeah, but I stopped, because he was grinning. That dimple showing up again, like he knew exactly what he was doing. And maybe he did. It wasn't just texting. It was everything lately. He'd linger near me while I made coffee, leaning close enough that I could feel his breath on my neck when he asked questions like, why does the kettle scream? Or, what is almond milk, and why is it an abomination? He'd sit too close on the couch, legs brushing mine. He'd watch movies with his head tilted, eyes wide, lips parted in awe, like every frame was a miracle. And every time he smiled, something inside me cracked open a little more. One night, I was fixing his collar before we left for a late walk on the terrace, since no dorm stayers go there at night, so it was safe to sneak him out. He still insisted on wearing button-ups, like he'd stepped out of a Jane Austen adaptation. Hold still, I muttered, fingers brushing his chest. You look like a time traveler. Oh, wait. He chuckled, low and soft. You mock me? Only because you make it too easy. His hand came up, closing gently around my wrist. My breath caught. His thumb brushed my pulse, warm and careful. In my time, he whispered, such closeness would mean something. I swallowed hard. What does it mean now? His eyes searched mine, calm and steady and full of something that scared the hell out of me. Then he leaned in and kissed me. Soft, careful, like he was afraid of breaking the rules of time itself. For a second, I forgot to breathe, forgot where we were, forgot everything. It wasn't fireworks, it was gravity, quiet and unstoppable. When we finally pulled apart, I whispered, "You're not supposed to do that." "Then forgive me," he said, eyes glinting faintly, "for wanting to belong somewhere, even if it's with you." Days passed, and everything got weird. Lights flickered when he was upset. My phone glitched when he walked too close. The pocket watch, the same damn one that started all this, had started glowing on its own. Maybe it's defective, I joked, but my stomach twisted every time the light pulsed. Anthony was restless. He'd spend hours staring at it, trying to figure out what went wrong when he'd been pulled here. I must have disrupted something, he said one night, pacing. Each moment I remain, it worsens. Or maybe you're overthinking it, I said, avoiding his gaze. It's just a watch. A creepy one, sure, but still a watch. He didn't laugh. No, Axel, I feel it. The pull. I am not meant to stay. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Because admitting that meant accepting the clock was ticking, literally, on whatever this was between us. And then there was Jamie. Jamie had been giving me weird looks all week. He'd found the old coins on my desk. He'd noticed the antique waistcoat drying in the bathroom. And of course, the rumors started. One night, he barged in without knocking. Bro, are you hiding someone in here? I froze. So did Anthony, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed, calmly reading a Wikipedia article out loud like it was scripture. Jamie blinked. What the? Who's the colonial cosplayer? Anthony stood immediately, stiff and polite. Good evening. I apologize for intruding upon your dwelling. Jamie looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Axel, what the hell? Did you kidnap a museum employee? I tried to explain. He's, foreign exchange. Anthony, bless his old-fashioned honesty, added, I am from the year 1824. Jamie screamed. The rest was chaos. Jamie ran. I chased. A frightening thunder burst without any dark clouds outside. That halted, frightened, as everything in the room started rattling. Anthony panicked and grabbed the watch when the full moonlight fell inside the window on the pocket watch. The glow from it went wild, like lightning in my room. Anthony, don't! I yelled. I have to fix this! His voice broke as he took the watch. I am tearing your world apart! Then tear it apart with me, I said, stepping closer. We'll figure it out together. He shook his head, eyes shining. You don't understand. I do not belong here, Axel. This world, it's not mine. Neither was mine, until you showed up. For a heartbeat, the world stopped moving. The light from the watch painted his face gold, sharp, otherworldly. He stepped close, cupping my face like he was memorizing it. If I stay, I could destroy everything. And if I go, his voice cracked. I lose you. My throat tightened. Then stay anyway. He kissed me again. Slower this time. Trembling. Desperate. Every second burned into me. His warmth, the taste of salt. The ache of goodbye. When he pulled back, he whispered, You've shown me a future I never dared dream. Anthony, don't. But the light swallowed him before I could finish. The air went still. The room fell dark. The pocket watch lay on the floor, its glow fading to nothing. And just like that, he was gone. I sat there for a long time, staring at the space he used to fill. The silence hurt. The air felt wrong, and all I could think was how a guy from 2 centuries ago managed to make my heart feel like it finally belonged. A few months later. It's funny how silence can get loud. For weeks, my dorm felt like it was holding its breath. The kettle whistled like a ghost. The couch still dipped where he used to sit. Every time I walked past the desk, the pocket watch glinted like it was mocking me. Jamie stopped asking questions after I told him Anthony transferred. I laughed when I said it. He didn't. Nobody believed me anyway. Not about Anthony. Not about time tearing itself open in my bedroom. I got a call from my family lawyer one day to inform me about my late grandma's home, which she transferred to my name. Great, Grandma. You are a bit too late to hand me the house. Because if I were there, maybe Jamie wouldn't have found out about Anthony. And maybe I could have found a way to make him stay with me forever. I started keeping the pocket watch on the desk every full moon night, hoping it would bring him back. But every night, I'd still find myself staring at that stupid watch, waiting for it to flicker. Just once. Just a sign. It's been weeks, maybe a month. I was packing my stuff to shift to my granny's home. My eyes kept going to the full moon outside. The pocket watch was still on the desk. I was losing hope and decided to pack it back in the trunk again when it finally happened. A faint glow. At first, I thought I was dreaming. The glow was meek, like a heartbeat trying to start again. I sat up, blinking at it. And then the air shifted. Wind stirred in the room, though the window was shut. Light bled from the edges of the watch, spilling gold across my floor. It wasn't the blinding burst from before. This time it felt warm, steady, like sunlight sneaking through curtains. And right then, I noticed something different. The faint shimmer of symbols floating around the watch face, spinning like constellations. I remembered the night Anthony had been studying my laptop, tracing equations and circuit diagrams he barely understood. He must have found a way to merge his invention with modern energy. He once said, "Perhaps the device reacts not just to time, but to intention." Maybe that's what he did. He taught the watch to respond to feeling instead of logic, to love instead of science. When it dimmed, he was there. Anthony, standing barefoot in my hoodie and jeans that were 2 sizes too big, looking like the most beautiful wrong thing the universe had ever allowed. His chest heaved like he'd run through centuries to get here. "I found a way," he said, voice trembling. "Time can bend, not break. The watch no longer calls me back. It anchors me here. With you." I just stared. "You're serious?" He smiled, the kind of smile that hurt to look at. "If I return, the watch dies. If I stay, it lives through us. I chose this century. I choose you." The sound that came out of me was somewhere between a laugh and a sob. "You're really giving up nobility, candlelight, and peace for bad Wi-Fi and capitalism?" Anthony's grin broke through, that familiar lopsided one that had ruined me from day one. "For love, I would even endure TikTok." I laughed, because of course he'd say that. Then I grabbed him and kissed him before he could say another word. He froze for a heartbeat, then melted against me. His hands came up to cup my jaw, fingers trembling, breath quick. It wasn't like the first time, cautious and wondering. This time, it was full, real, desperate. Like we both knew exactly what we were doing and what it meant. When we pulled apart, our foreheads rested together, breaths tangled. "I thought I'd lost you," I whispered. "You did not lose me," he murmured. "You only misplaced me in time." That broke me. I laughed quietly and wrecked. "You have no idea how long I've been waiting for you to say something that cheesy." "I have been practicing," he said, voice soft, smiling against my mouth. We didn't rush it. We just stood there for a while, holding on to something that shouldn't have existed, but did. He traced his thumb over the back of my hand, like he was memorizing the shape of modern skin. I brushed a strand of hair from his forehead, smiling through tears I didn't even notice falling. "You're really staying?" I whispered. He nodded. "This world confuses me, terrifies me, but it also gives me you. And I've decided that is reason enough to belong." I wanted to say something clever, but words didn't work anymore. So I kissed him again instead. Slow this time, warm, familiar. His hoodie slipped off one shoulder, and I caught a glimpse of that same gentle man who'd once called my lamp a glowing demon orb. It hit me then, how far we'd come. From fear to this, from a haunted night to something that felt a lot like forever. Later, when we finally stopped talking and the room went quiet again, the pocket watch lay still on the desk under the full moonlight, its glow faint but steady. Anthony traced my palm, his voice low. "Do you suppose time can envy?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" "That it might resent us for defying it, for stealing something meant to be lost." I smiled. "Then let it be jealous." He smiled back. "Then let it be." I don't know how long we stayed like that. Maybe minutes, maybe hours. But when he finally drifted off beside me, curled against my chest like he'd always been meant to be there, the world. Outside could have ended, and I wouldn't have noticed. Time had already broken once to bring him back. Maybe it could forgive us this too. Epilogue, months later. Life hasn't looked this beautiful in years. Ever since Anthony decided to stay, everything feels brighter, softer, like my world finally learned how to breathe. We moved into Grandma's old apartment a few months ago. It smells faintly of her lavender perfume and old wood polish, and I swear she'd have loved Anthony. He still burns toast like it's a ritual, bows to the mailman, and thinks Uber drivers are mechanical carriage wizards. I try not to laugh, but honestly, it's impossible not to. One morning, he's glaring at the washing machine like it insulted his family. "Why must it spin so violently?" he mutters. "Because," I say, wrapping my arms around him from behind. "It's the 21st century's way of saying, 'I love you.'" He laughs, low and warm. "Then your century is passionate indeed." He teaches me patience, real patience. The kind that comes from watching someone rediscover the world one small wonder at a time. Every day with him feels like learning a new language made of stolen glances and quiet touches. At night, when the city hums outside, he leans on the windowsill, staring out like he's still surprised the world didn't end when he stayed. "Do you miss your time?" I ask him once. Anthony turns, smiling that soft, ruinous smile. "My time had comfort. This one has you, and kissing you is my comfort zone." He kisses me then, slow, unhurried, like he's memorizing the taste of forever. The rest of the world fades until it's just us, wrapped in warmth, laughter, and quiet promise. On our desk, the pocket watch sits still. No glow, no ticking, just peace. The past didn't just visit my present, it stayed, and decided to love me back. The end. If your soulmate suddenly time-traveled into your life like Anthony did, would you risk everything to keep them here? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force, and consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.